She's still a woman, she's a mother, she's a human being, and he still loved her enough to still want to send her love poetry while she was in jail, and I was very, very happy to help him express that. And she's out now and she's living a good life, so it's all good.
Wow, that's excellent. That is, it's an interesting story, because you forget about, the fathers, yeah? So do you have a morning spiritual practice that helps you channel your work?
I do. When I wake up, I normally never get out of bed for at least an hour. So I normally wake up, I have my own sort of meditations, I pray, and I also try and organize my day in my mind, so I know what I'm trying to do, I know what I'm trying to achieve, and I try and analyze what I did the day before. Did I get that done? Do I need to do this? And for me, it's like life is like building a wall, a brick wall, and every small act is one brick in that wall. And as long as you do one act every day towards your wall, you'll have a very strong and you'll have the wall of China by the time you're done. And I always make sure that every day I do something towards my greater goal. So at the moment I'm working on an album, so every day I do something for the album.
Brilliant. You're putting money in your spiritual, physical, emotional bank account. That's enabling you to reap the rewards of that.
I just want to say one thing quick there. Another part to your earlier question about the money thing. I analysed my income and my outgoings a long time ago. Same way I analysed my time. And what I worked out was I spent about 20 hours a week watching TV. Yeah? I also realized that I spent about 15% of my income buying things I never use. It could be something really small, like I walk past a shop, oh my days, that looks really cool, I'm getting that, get it, I take it home, I love it for 5 seconds, then I'm a man, I'm distracted by movement, I'm like, oh, what's that over there? And then I don't know about this thing I bought anymore. And then I've got a whole house full of stuff I never use that I think, yeah, one day I'll use this for something. So 15% of my income is just, I've just wasted. So when I analyzed that and calculated a year, I wasted enough money in a year to make an album.
Wow.
Just from my normal income, whether I've got a part-time job or I do a concert or, I'm selling products or what have you, but I generally waste a lot of my income. So what I tried to do is, if I manage my time better, so like if I cut out TV, that gives me 20 hours every week. That's 3 days work for most people. 20 hours from simply not, and this was based on watching TV for 2.5 hours every day. So I cut out TV and suddenly I had more time to think about my work, I had more time to analyze my work properly and not make rush decisions. And I had more time to just give the work it needs, because everything we do needs time, it needs attention, and sometimes it's difficult to give something attention if you're distracted by all the bits and pieces of life, and life is all trying to crash into your body.
Yeah, and also I think what you said about the television, how can you create when you're mentally, your mind has been occupied by something coming in? We're natural creators, and I don't really watch television myself. When I speak to a lot of people that are really successful, their television watching is to a bare minimum. So what you're saying really adds up a lot, and I think it's going to help a lot of people that actually want to make something, but they haven't got the step-by-step way of being a creative pioneer, as opposed to thinking, I'm going to watch television, do some music, going to watch television, create some artwork. It doesn't work like that, because your brain is flatlined already throughout the process.
If you have a job, you go to work, you're there for like 9 hours, 12 hours for some people, you come home, you're tired. So you automatically turn on this box where they've got pre-prepared entertainment for you and pre-prepared relaxation for you. But because of the community that I come from, I know that we don't have time to rest. Every time you're resting, the other forces in the world are organizing themselves to get what they need to be done. And I live in London, and I live in one of the most economically vibrant cities of the world. So, as someone that's I grew up in Jamaica. Because I grew up in Jamaica, I know certain things. And one of the things I know is you can't come to England and be sleeping. English people can sleep because they've already got it. But in my head, I keep that kind of immigrant mindset to respect, where I think, nah, every pound isn't a pound, it's $100. You know, every moment I've got is not, I'm just gonna chill, it's like a moment to do some work. So in my mind, I try and motivate myself and remind myself that you're only gonna be healthy for so long, you're only gonna be around for so long, you're gonna have so much energy to do something. So I try and direct my mind to what I want to try and achieve, and then I try my best to minimize the static that the world is trying to provide me with. Because people on TV, they're at work.
You know,
I'm at home, I need to do something for my team. That's it.
so the final question I'm going to ask you is exercise and health. Now, mentally, spiritually, you've got it sussed. What do you do physically for yourself to sustain this force that
Hill
you
sprints.
are? What?
Hill sprints and ride my bicycle. But they stole my back wheel the other day, so I've been riding my bicycle for a long time. I'm going through serious withdrawal. But yeah, hill sprints, man. I do
Sprinting up a hill?
just literally sprint up a hill, takes 5 minutes, if that, and it's the same exercise that you would do in the gym for an hour. And it's cheap, which means more money that I can spend on my art.
That's really interesting, because every single person I've interviewed that is successful or they got their business running is doing running of some sort. So again,
He is Jamaican.
yeah, and also it's Jamaican, yes.
Speed is standard, man.
But this kind of really puts in, reiterates how important it is to do exercise, to sustain new creativity that's coming through. And I believe that the creative energy is much more stronger than before, because we've got access to so much emotionally, mentally, and things that we didn't understand before, we have access to now. But we're not giving ourselves space to process that. And so your body is getting tired because there's so much mental energy that's passing through your system. So therefore, the physical needs to be able to sustain that level of information that's going through your body. So, is there anything else you'd like to say? Just tell us what's happening for you next and where we can find you.
I have a website, HKB FiNN.com. That's HKBFiNN.com. I'm just working on a new version of the website at the moment. I'm also working on a new album, which is called Night Runner, ironically. And the title of the album is based on a Kenyan fairy tale. And the fairy tale is basically they're these spirits and they possess people, but they only possess people they only possess men, and they only possess men who are caught up in the world. And then what they make the men do, they make the men go running at night, sometimes naked. And in traditional Kenyan society, which is extremely conservative, if you are caught running at night, there will be serious consequences.
Wow.
I mean serious for you and your family. We're talking, you're getting ostracized out of the community one time. You're gonna have to move to like the Gambia or something, because you can't stay here. And if you don't move, you will be dealt with. So, but anyway, that's, I like the Night Runner story because I thought it's kind of like a metaphor for how we are in modern urban culture. Like, we are trapped between two worlds. We have our traditional selves, and then we have our technical selves, the one that goes to work and goes, yes sir, no sir, all the rest of it. But there's a part of you that's real, and then when we don't access that part, we do the traditional equivalent of night running, which is we go crazy, or we get into different things, or we overindulge in different aspects of our lives. And so I wrote some poems and songs around this idea of trying to get out of that headspace and find your real self. So that's the album that I'm working on at the moment, and that's it.
What about your lecture? I think that's really important.
I'm doing a lecture series for young artists, emerging artists who are interested in how to make money in the creative industries. So it starts in late October, early November, and check my website for details. But basically, it'll be free. It's free to come. It's all over the UK. Actually, that's not a lie. It's not true. It's all over England because it's been.
Wow.
I'm still talking to the Arts Council of England about details, but basically, it'll be all over England, and you come to the workshop. It's 2 hours, and basically, I talk you through the history of the music business, which is about 5 minutes, and then the history of copyright law, which is another 5 minutes, and then the rest of the minutes is just basically talking about how you can make money out of what you do, because a lot of people they work in music, for instance, and they don't actually know how music is funded. So the whole point of the lecture is to share my experience and to share my knowledge of how you can actually make a living, because I don't always make money from selling records. There's lots of other aspects. There's touring, there's sponsorships, there's sponsorship deals, there are different types of other funding. So like they'll fund one thing and then you can use that thing in conjunction with something else. And we don't realize that, especially here in the UK, we don't realize how much we're actually sitting on, but because we don't get access to information, or because of our lifestyle, or because many of us are battling illnesses and social pressures, and when you're creative, man, it's very hard to find empathy in your family, because everyone's like, you need to make money, you need to make this work, this doesn't make money, stop doing it, and they don't understand the need to express. So
exactly.
that pressure alone will distance you even further from what you can actually do. But if you are really genuinely creative, then trust me, you can make a living. You can make a serious living, especially in England. Don't know about anywhere else, but here, there's so much money around. But you have to know how to look for it, know how to sell yourself when you interface with people who work in certain environments, and be the thing you want to see in the world. That's it.
Brilliant. I'm also going to put on my website the details of the workshop, because I work with young people as well, and people that really want to break into the creative industry, and I think that workshop and what you're saying is invaluable, and we really need that, because that is a big gap. You're like a storyteller, you're passing on stories and traditions, and that's quite valuable to how the future generation are going to progress, because you're not only educating them, you're going to be educating their parents, or helping them to be able to move forward with their creative talents. So thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you for an excellent interview. It's opened my eyes. So tune in for our next interview. Hopefully that will be within the next 2 weeks. This is Marilyn Fontaine signing off. I'm going to edit that.